It is episode 3 of Wednesdays with Ward, and training camp is nearly upon us. What does that entail? Well, the man himself will tell us, the head coach of the Abbotsford Heat, Troy G. Ward. Ice in behind us. It's like you can taste and smell the hockey in the air. This is exciting.
It is exciting. We're getting ready to go here. We're less than 48 hours away, and we get rolling here in Abbotsford.
Tell us about the camp. How long is it? How many players? And does it have a particular feel or thing in mind that when you built it, you wanted players to feel?
Well, we don't have an exhibition game. Technically we have our red-white game, but that's against ourselves. So the execution, the tempo, the consistency, and I think the quickness that we play at a team pace is going to be critical during the next week and a half here.
So that game on October the 5th will be open to the public. You're going to have the tunes going in the building. The Jumbotron will be rocking. It's going to be game simulated, so to speak. How easy is that going to be for guys to transition from a practice into that, and how do you manage that as a coach?
Well, we're going to do quite a bit of skating earlier in the week. We're going to have an inter-squad game a little bit on one particular day to get ourselves ready for that Friday. That is kind of their crown, their jewel, so to speak. That's the time that they're going to have to play. And it is for our team, not only for an individual. Like, we have to play well that night against each other because we're a week away from not so much a dress rehearsal anymore. So a lot at stake that Friday the 5th, both individually and I think for our team as well.
The rosters announced yesterday publicly. To me, you look at that forward list, I mean, there are a lot of very good players that have had success and have been regulars in the AHL. What number are you paring that down to, and is that going to be the toughest of the 3 positions?
Yeah, I would say that. We've got, obviously, we've got our work cut out there, and the guys got their work cut out for them. We've got to figure out, we'll pare that down, to your point, as to about 13 forwards, and that's give or take an injury. We might have to keep a guy or an extra guy for a day or two or maybe a week, depending on how camp goes, but ideally you'd like to be at 13 players at that point in time, and it seems to be and will be the most competitive spot in the camp.
I always wonder, do you prefer being on the ice when these things are going on? Do you prefer being in the stands, or does it depend if it's scrimmage versus game versus practice?
For me, I'd like to rather be right down there in the heat of the battle. I'll be on the ice all those times and trying to, obviously, the 5th I probably won't coach a bench that particular night. I'll let the assistants handle it, and I'll sit up top with some management as we make decisions, because right away the next morning we got to make some tough decisions on some players. So, but for me, as far as the best evaluating tool or the spot, it's right there next to them and talking to them about why decisions are and how they're feeling and how they're doing. And there's a lot of things that go into their play. So you want to be able to have a good judge and read on kids.
Flames development camp this summer in July. We saw some physicality in the form of hits. I can't recall any scraps. I wonder if that would have a different feel here, given there's no exhibition, and that if I'm a guy that makes a living, intimidating, I should be intimidating to get a job, shouldn't I?
Well, I think so. I think, the other part of this whole thing, Ryan, is we don't have a training camp. We didn't have a rookie camp. I look for this to be an unbelievably competitive experience. And the other part of it is, we're going to have management here. We're going to have the coaching staff from Calgary. And if you just thought about it from Bob Hartley's perspective, I mean, he doesn't have, if he had training camp, he'd be watching Jerome and all those guys really intensely and might not see some of the players that are here as much because there's that separation in age and in skill and things like that. Here, him and Jay and John Weisbrod, they're going to be totally focused on the players that are available here for them to help during the year. So they're going to get 100% attention here, and with that should garner a pretty competitive environment, whether that's physicality or whether that's just hard hockey. We'll see it on a daily basis.
Does the fun begin, or is that once you've got your team? I wonder how you view training camp. Is it something on the like to dislike scale?
Well, I think it begins right away from the first testing. I mean, we're going to get a glimpse of some people's work ethic throughout the summer and how hard and how ready they are and how prepared. So this whole thing will get started on the morning of the 27th, and it should carry through right up until the 12th when we play Peoria here.
The ice is in, and training camp is set to begin. This has been Wednesday with Ward, episode 3. Thanks for your time, Coach.
You're welcome.